Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. This week we've got the Genesis Invitational, formerly known as the Genesis Open. With it being an invitational now though, we are not getting around 30 or more players in this event. There's around 122 players in this event, which kind of sucks. We kind of lose the edge there, but with it being an invitational, there's a lot higher quality of players in this, as you guys will see, which actually creates a lot of value for us, a lot of mispriced players. So, it's kind of take what you want out of it. We do lose some of the edge, but then we also gain it with the pricing. So it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. Overall, I think this will be a pretty solid week. I do want to get into last week's recap though. So it was a red week last week. We made it pretty clear that this was going to be a week where, it's predictably unpredictable. There's going to be a lot of randomness to it. If you were going to get 6 out of 6 across the cut line, you were going to have a highly successful week, but it was really unlikely that that was going to happen. We saw that the starting course really mattered. For the most part, the players in my player pool that started on Spyglass really did poorly, and then everyone else did really well, which was kind of unfortunate. But we did have Nick Taylor win, which was awesome to see. Price at $7K. Remember on the live stream, someone asked me directly, hey, who's your favorite value play on the slate? And I'm like, I do have value plays that I like, but I'd just rather go pay up for Nick Taylor if you can. I kind of cheated there with that answer just because he was $7K, but I really just want to avoid the value range and, kind of wanted to avoid it. So I'm like, rebuild, get Nick Taylor in your build if you're trying to go that low. And if you can do that, Matthew Naismith was another value play that I liked as well. But really, it was really easy to do well on the showdown slate as a whole. Round one, you attack the easy course. Round two, you attack the easy course. And one thing about round two that I want to touch on is Russell Knox ownership. So in cash last week, he was 50% owned, 53% owned is what I saw. And then on the showdown slate in cash, he was only 15 or 13% owned, which I don't get. Support regression to the mean is going to tell you guys that after a bad round, it's more than likely that he's going to have a good round. And especially at that high of an ownership, there are the chances that many people were wrong. It's pretty unlikely. And then you just look at his stats in round two. He's playing on the easiest course of the week. All signs point to him having a good day, and he did, which actually resulted in DP from DP's picks from the XFL. He actually took down a small GPP, which was cool to see. And then we also did have another 9to5 Nation member have a really solid week. He tweeted out to me saying that he had a solid week, so that was cool to see. Congrats to him. Let's get into the picks for this week, but first I want to touch on one other thing real quick. All right, so one other thing that I wanted to touch on as well, just because Nick Taylor had a good week, it brings up a good point of topic to touch on real quick. So betting with 9to5, these are our 9to5 winners so far. So Nick Taylor, obviously last week at Pebble Beach, he was a high exposure play. Pretty simple. If you played, just bet on the high exposure plays and core plays, you had Nick Taylor as a winner. That was pretty easy. Same thing with Joaquin Niemann at the military tribute at the Greenbrier. He ended up having a good week. Sebastian Munoz was a core play the week he won it at the Sanderson Farms. Cameron Champ, we were on him pretty high that week. Lanto Griffin was a core play the week he won it, or high exposure play the week he won it at the Houston Open at those odds. He was a nice play. Obviously, that would have been a nice hit for you guys. Tyler Duncan at the RSM Classic, he was a low exposure play that week. And then Cam Smith at the Sony, you guys know we were on him. And then Webb Simpson at the Phoenix Open, obviously he was our top play on the board that week. I just bring this up as a point of emphasis. If you guys are thinking about betting that way, this is how you can apply those picks. The guys that either have core plays, mid exposure plays, low exposure plays, that's how you guys can reflect it. And if you guys want to do that, you can. We did have other players like Justin Thomas. He's won twice. We had him in our player pool those weeks as well, but obviously you're not going to get too much out of betting, a player like that. So just want to touch on that for you guys, but let's get into the overview for this week. All right, so the overview for this week. So recent form, obviously there's a ton of players in this field that have been playing great. Got Bubba in there twice just because I guess I'm just on him that much. So Bubba's in great form. Rory's in great form. Rahm's in great form. Cantley has made a ton of cuts in a row. Adam Scott just won on the European Tour. Colin Morikawa and Sanjay M have both been cut makers pretty much their past 15 or so events. And then Alex Noren is coming in hot for us. So stat fits. So the stats that we're going to be looking at this week are going to be total driving, ball striking, strokes gained approach, scrambling, and then driving distance actually holds quite a bit of value at this course. And those stats are all kind of weird. So let's say someone's bad at scrambling, but they're good at total driving and ball striking and strokes gained approach. Then it's fine if they suck at scrambling. So just keep that in mind. Some of the players that fit that build are pretty much the same as recent form. So getting into event history, there are a ton of players with some really good event history. Bubba's a 2-time winner here. Rory has 3 straight top 20 finishes. Cantlay has only had 2 starts here, but he's been really solid in those 2 top 15 finishes. Casey's made the cut his last 4 starts. Xander's been sharp at this event as well. So overall, this is going to be a really nice player pool, as you guys can already see. All right, so let's get into the high tier here. The high tier is absolutely loaded. I'm not going to touch on all of them. It'd be kind of redundant, but I will start off with Rory here. So Rory, T4, T20, T20 the year before that. So 3 straight top 20 finishes. Obviously, he's an excellent stat fit. He's 11th in total driving, or he's 24th in total driving, 11th in ball striking, 11th in driving distance. He's 1st in strokes gained approach, 3rd in strokes gained total, and he's really great at scrambling as well, top 30 in that. Echo what I said for Rory for Rahm as well. Rahm had a T9 finish here last year. He's top 12 in total driving, ball striking, strokes gained total, total putting. And he's decent at driving distance, scrambling, strokes gained approach. You know, we know Jon Rahm's a long player. If he wants to go and hit it far, he can. Patrick Cantlay, T15, T4 in his last 2 starts here. He is 4th in total driving, 1st in ball striking, 10th in strokes gained total, 6th in strokes gained approach, and 71st in driving distance. He also has made 13 straight cuts as well. I really like Patrick Cantlay at that price point. Moving on, we do have Bubba Watson right there as well. So Bubba Watson had a T15, a first, a withdrawal, didn't play, and then he had a made cut as well. So I like Bubba Watson a lot as a play as well. And then Adam Scott's going to be a good play for us this week as well. Adam Scott has made 4 straight cuts at this event, including 3 top 11 finishes or better. He's a really solid stat fit as well. Top 15 according to my model this week. All right, moving on to the mid-exposure plays here. This is where you guys will see the player pool really start to open up. So we got Jason Day here, who has just been in some pretty decent form other than that miscut mixed in there, where we touched on it last week. He took like a whole month and a half off before that event, and he took a whole month and a half off after that event. So we thought he'd bounce back pretty well. He obviously had a 4th overall finish last week. His course history is not the best, only a T64, but we know who Jason Day is as a player. We're getting a price discount for him, frankly speaking. Same thing for Justin Rose here. Sure, miscut on his last event. You know, fall golf, we can just kind of write that off. I think we know who Justin Rose is as a player, and we're getting a world-class player at 8.5K. I'll take that any day of the week. Probably won't have him in cash, but definitely a lot in GPPs. Abraham Ancer is one of my favorite plays on the board. He's just in some really great recent form. He has made the cut in his last 2 starts here, and it's been ascending. So he had a T44, T68, and a missed cut. So ascending there. He's a relatively good stat fit as well, top 20 according to my model this week, so I do like him as well. We have Colin Morikawa here, who's just a really decent stat fit. He's not the longest off the tee, which is kind of a worry, but he makes up for it with really strong strokes gained approach. He's 52nd in scrambling. He's 14th in strokes gained total as well. Top 50 in total driving and ball striking, and obviously he's just been a cut maker this whole year. 18 straight make cuts in a row, and they pretty much all been top 25 finishes. Same can be said for Sanjay M, who Sanjay did struggle in his first time out here. Last year he missed the cut here, but I believe that was when he was just playing too many events in a row. So he kind of just like wore himself out essentially. But he is also a top 10 stat fit this week, so I really like Sanjay M at that price point as well. Going to be tough to decide the player pool here. This is where there's going to be a lot of 50-50 decisions being made that could really make or break your week. Moving on to the low exposure plays, we got Bryson there. He's going to be a good play for us this week. T15, T41, and then a withdrawal. He's top 10 in total driving, ball striking. He's 6th in driving distance as well. He's top 20 in strokes gained total, total putting, and he's 27th in scrambling. Overall, I just think Bryson's going to be a good play this week, especially at that price point. It's worth the risk at that price point. It's not going to hurt you too much. Paul Casey, this is just insane to me that we're getting Paul Casey at this price point. I mean, we were paying $10K for him last week, so obviously I'm going to play him at 7.9K. 4 straight make cuts at this event. Now, his recent form isn't the best. I get that. He's not the best stat fit, but his stats are getting better. Other than that horrible 81 last week. So if we kind of write that off where he's playing in the winning conditions, didn't have a shot to win. I do like Paul Casey again. We do worry about that last round in the 4th round, which is probably why he's priced down this low. Then we get Matthew Fitzpatrick there. Matt Kuchar as well. I'm fine with those plays, but the play I want to touch on is going to be Charles Howell, because he's just reminding me a lot of Nick Taylor last week. Great stat fit, good course history, and his missed cuts haven't been bad missed cuts. He's been right around the cut line there. He went under par in both of his most recent missed cuts. 7 out of 9 cuts on the year. I do like Charles Howell as a play this week, especially at that price point. And then why not Cam Smith? We played him a little bit this year. We were worried about him coming back from that victory, a T40 or a T64, and then a missed cut. I'm thinking that missed cut will be a wake-up call for him. Cam Smith has come out on record saying how much he really does like this course as well, so I do expect him to be able to play well at this event. He's an okay stat fit. Scotty Scheffler, great stat fit as well. We know who he is as a player kind of now already in his young career. He's got good total driver, good ball striker, long off the tee as well. Hopefully he can bounce back from that recent form, because that obviously is not good. He's kind of struggled with these new events. Alex Noren is a player that I really do like, priced at 7.3K. I really don't get it, to be honest with you. 5 straight made cuts in a row. His most recent start at this event was a T16. That's all he's had. And then overall, he's just a relatively solid stat fit. All his stats point to him being able to make the cut again this week. So at 7.3K, that's something I'll just be playing quite a bit, just because you're putting in a player into your build that's highly likely to make the cut, and you're not paying too much for him. I'm fine with Russell Knox as a play again this week. Hopefully he can bounce back. He really struggled on the back nine of Pebble Beach when it was starting to play hard last week. It really sucked, because if he had made the cut last week, it would have been a really solid week last week. I'm fine going back to the well with him this week, but maybe we just take the week off of Knox this week if you want to, because there's a ton of really good plays, so we don't really have to force him into our builds like we've had to do this whole year, essentially. So if you want to get off of him, you can. I do like Scott Piercy, though. Scott Piercy, last year's most owned player for 9 of 5. He is getting back into some really good recent form. T18 last week, T6 the year before, or the event before that. The course history is, let me find it. Only a missed cut. That's all he has here. But he is a relatively good stat fit. He's ranking out top 25 according to my model this week. And then Nick Taylor. Why not go back to the well with him? He has really good course history here. T33, T41, T55, T26. He's still total driving and ball striking the ball really well. I just like him at this price point. If he was priced at 8K, I wouldn't be playing him. But to not get any price bump, really, $100 price bump, $200 price bump, I like him as a play this week again. We do worry about him kind of having the hangover effect from the victory, but still at this price point, I'm willing to take that risk. Jason Kokrak, great total driver, great ball striker, long off the tee as well. Top 20 in driving distance. He has good course history here as well, so I don't mind him as a play. He's made 4 straight cuts here at this event, T37, T20, T22, and a T2, so I'm perfectly fine with Jason Kokrak. I think he'll bounce back pretty well at this event. And then let's get into the value tier here. So the value tier here we can actually play, unlike last week. So it's pretty loaded. Not any great plays, but Brian Harman definitely stands out to me this week. 8 out of 9 cuts made on the year. His game is definitely back. He doesn't have the best course history here, which is kind of the only pause, and it's probably why he's a value play this week. T51 miscut and a T72, so nothing great, and his recent form is nothing great as well, but I just really like the price point for him for a guy that does have decent course history, okay, good stat fit, and good recent form. Patrick Rogers, before the miscut last week, he was playing pretty well. 9 out of 13 cuts in a row, but his event history here is pretty good. T15, T26, T22, and a miscut. He's not a really good stat fit at all, though. The only thing he's got going for him is pretty much his driving distance. T17 on the tour, so obviously we do like that. For a value play, something you can take the risk at, maybe a 5% ownership play. Carlos Ortiz is one of those players that we tend to play in events that he's done well at previously. That's when he typically does well. He played this course T9 last year and a T26 in his 2 starts here. His total driving is 90th. His ball striking is 33rd. He's 59th in driving distance, 26th in scrambling, and 74th in strokes gained approach. relatively good recent form as well, so I don't mind him as a value play this week. And then Lanto Griffin. So pretty much what I'm going to do with Lanto Griffin this whole year, I think, is just, throw him in GPPs no matter what week it is. The guy has just so much upside. It's whether or not he's putting well, essentially, is what it's going to come down to. He's a great stat fit again this week, top 10 according to my model this week. So, the week that he does have a good week, he's pretty much going to get a top 15 finish. And at this price point, that's something I can get on board with. But, you're factoring in maybe a miscut. So that's kind of a value play for you. That's how value plays go for you. And then after that, there's not too many plays I like. Denny McCarthy has made 10 straight cuts in a row. Sebastian Munoz isn't an elite stat fit this week. He's made 8 out of 12 cuts on the year. Other than that Farmers Insurance Open, he's been pretty solid recently. Sony Open, obviously a T2 or +2. We didn't like that either, but for the stat fit and for the price point that we're getting him at, I don't mind him as a play. He is a top 20 stat fit this week as well, so that's a fine value play. I don't really want to go that low. I do want to mention Taylor Gooch, though. Guy has been finding ways to make the cut. Let's just put it that way. 9 out of 10 on the year, and his most recent start here was a T20 finish. Obviously, I don't want to go that low if we don't have to, but if you guys are, married to a studs and duds lineup and you have to find a value play, that's going to be the one I roll with. All right, that's all I have for you guys this week. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and subscribe. I always do appreciate that. If you guys are curious and join 9 to 5 Nation, I will have the link in the description below. It's $10 a month. It's been really solid so far this whole 2020 season, so hope to see you guys there. All right, we're out. Thanks.